Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a movie review on The Woman in Cabin 10. So before I head into my thoughts and feelings on this movie adaptation of The Woman in Cabin 10, I do not plan on having any sort of spoilers in this video. That being said, if you want to talk about spoilers, totally feel free to down in the comments below. So let's get going. How did I feel about this adaptation of The Woman in Cabin 10? This is what you need to know. This is based off of the extremely popular book by Ruth Ware, which I have read and enjoyed. If you want to see my thoughts on the book, I did a book review on it years and years and years ago, so go check out my book review if you would like to. And yeah, this aired on Netflix, and the movie sits at an hour and a half. But that should have told me something right there when I saw that it was an hour and a half. Because I was thinking, how are they going to get through this entire story in a cohesive manner that makes sense in an hour and a half? Because I think this adaptation fell kind of flat for me, you guys, and I was pretty disappointed with it. And here's the thing, I'm usually someone that I tend to not sit and gripe and complain about book to screen adaptations, you know, because books are a whole different medium and movies and television are a whole different medium. Books are doing something entirely different and movies and television are doing something entirely different. So I am always the type of person, I can separate the two, and a lot of times I can understand why a movie or television adaptation, why they're making the changes that they're doing, and a lot of times it works for me and it's okay. You know, I can still love the book and I can still love the movie or television adaptation. It's not going to change how I feel about the book. You know, I can love both in like very different ways. So I'm usually that type of person when it comes to adaptations. But oh my god, I really struggled with this movie. Yeah, guys. So this is what you need to know about The Woman in Cabin 10. Let me do the plot synopsis for you really quickly. A travel journalist, played by Keira Knightley, gets an opportunity to cover the maiden voyage of a luxury cruise yacht. At night, she is convinced a passenger has been thrown overboard, but no one believes her, saying that no one was staying in the cabin next to hers. Ooh, intrigue, mystery. So this movie, it hits the beats that it needs to, for the most part. Everything that you pretty much need, it's there in order to tell the story. But this adaptation, oh my god, it just makes some really strange, like, twists on things and changes that I didn't totally really like or understand. And again, I can't repeat enough, I love this book by Ruth Ware. Okay, this was actually my very first Ruth Ware. This was her second book, and I had never read her first book, and this book was what got me into Ruth Ware. And ever since, I have picked up every single Ruth Ware book, and I have read every single book. Yes, there's the ones that work, the ones that don't, but for the most part, I really love Ruth Ware. And yeah, I love this book in particular. And yeah, Ruth Ware even wrote this year, she even wrote a follow-up book called The Woman in Suite 11. So that's how popular this book is, that Ruth Ware wrote a sequel to it, essentially, you know. It doesn't connect. If you're worried about that, you can read The Woman in Suite 11 totally alone from The Woman in Cabin 10. They do not connect in any sort of way, except kind of very, very minorly. But I did this movie, seriously, there was just a lot of really random changes that I didn't quite understand why they were doing what they were doing exactly. And like, I guess to get into something, just to give you an example, because in the book, let's start here. In the book, it opens, and the character of Lo, in the book, Lo gets attacked at her home. There's like a home invasion, essentially. And after the experience, she's obviously really traumatized from that experience, and she's like prescribed, I think she's prescribed like some anxiety pills and some antidepressant pills. So that's a big part of her character, is that prior to her getting on the yacht, prior to all that, she's already on some pretty heavy medication because of the experience and trauma she just went through. And when she is on the yacht, all of that carries over. So obviously she's on the yacht drinking like alcohol and wine, obviously. So when it kind of comes out that she is on all these pills in the book and she was also drinking, and then when she thinks that somebody has been thrown overboard, all of a sudden she becomes like this unreliable narrator. So here in the movie, her trauma and her backstory has been changed quite significantly in some ways. It's like it's kind of there in a sense, but it's been really heavily simplified, and I kind of don't understand why they kind of did that. Because again, in the book, she has the trauma of a home invasion. Here in the movie, what happens? We get the idea that she was like she was somewhere and she witnessed a murder. Someone was going to talk to her about something, and she witnessed a murder. So she has like PTSD and trauma from that. But yeah, the fact that she's like on pills and medication, like none of that is added into this movie. I don't recall. So I think in the movie, here in the movie, it's like when she witnesses the crime of somebody being thrown overboard, and then she's telling everybody, hey, I just saw somebody be thrown overboard. Here in this movie, it almost just comes across like she's just crazy. You know, she's just crazy. Whereas in the book, it's like that excuse is there, like you're taking all these antidepressants, you were drinking, you're on anxiety medication. You just saw something you didn't see because you were perhaps having hallucinations. It's not so much like she's a crazy woman in the book, you know. Like I said, here in the movie, it just felt like she was coming across as a crazy woman for no reason. So that change, it was kind of hit or miss with me, because it's like I understand that they were trying to simplify Lo's early trauma, you know, and trying to set her up as an unreliable narrator to some degree, but I don't think it was as successful like in the book. You know, the book makes her an unreliable narrator much more successfully and believably, I think. And it's not just like things like that, it's just other little minor stupid things. I hate when movie adaptations or television adaptations, I hate when character names are changed for no reason. Like the character of Ben Howard, for instance. In the book, the character is named Ben Howard, but here in the movie, they changed it. I think they changed it to like Ben Morgan or something. What's the point of that? What's the point of changing his last name? Can somebody tell me why a little subtle change like that is even made? I don't understand the point of that. So other than like just little miscellaneous changes like that, which kind of just irked on me, I just in general, again, the hour and a half runtime should have just kind of cued me in from the get-go, because I felt like this adaptation, it was just so rushed, and the pacing kind of felt a little uneven at times, and like just certain events are just gone through so rapidly and so quickly, and then other times it kind of slows down, and it just slows down too much, and it kind of messes up some of the timing, I feel like, for some of the mystery. So that was kind of grating on me, just it being rushed in places, but too slow in places. And then, yeah, there is one big, huge change that happens near the end, you guys. I'm not even going to mention it, obviously, because I said this is a non-spoiler review, but there's a big, huge thing that happens near the end that really kind of irked me. I was so freaking frustrated. If you really want to know what it is, I will let you know in the comments what it is. And then for another thing, this has a remarkable cast, you guys, and none of these people are used. It's like the cast list went by at the very end, and I was like, oh yeah, they were in this movie. This movie did nothing with them. Yeah, let's get into that. Okay, let's go down the rundown of the cast really quickly, because we have Keira Knightley playing the main character of Lo. As I keep saying, she's a travel journalist. She gets this opportunity to come onto this yacht, to cover the story of this yacht. And yeah, the man who is also like hosting this event on the yacht, it's also this whole thing too, because he has a really sick wife who is on the verge of death pretty much, because she's like, I think she has like cancer or leukemia, and I can't remember which. So they're also kind of using this as an excuse to like raise awareness for for the disease that she has, you know. So Lo is there kind of covering a couple different things in a sense. I liked Keira Knightley. Keira Knightley worked as the character of Lo. I didn't really have any issues with Keira Knightley. She was doing the best that she could with the script that she was given and what she was being told to do, obviously. And yeah, she gets the most amount of screen time, obviously. And then yeah, we have Guy Pearce playing Richard Ballmer, who's the guy who owns this yacht, who has the sickly wife and whatnot. I really liked Guy Pearce in this. Let's just say Guy Pearce, he plays typical type of roles that he's been typecast in over the decades. I think so. I think you could kind of assume and expect what type of character he's going to be playing in here. But I played Guy Pearce for the most part. Yeah, playing Ben, we have David Ajala. I love David Ajala. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I think the character of Ben in general in this adaptation, I think David Ajala was like the least aggravating person. Ben was the least aggravating character. And a thing too with Ben, him and Lo have backstory with one another because they used to date. So there's like this interesting tension between them throughout this entire movie, kind of their fallout between one another. But yeah, they need to put their work life at the focus, not their relationship, the fact that they're exes. So I liked that kind of chemistry between David Ajala and Keira Knightley. It worked for me. And yeah, let's run down this cast really quickly. Yeah, guys, this wonderful cast of British actors. We have David Morrissey, Hannah Waddingham, Gugu Mbatha Raw, Kaya Scodelario, Paul Kaye, Daniel Ings. Why were these people in this damn movie? For crying out loud. I was really massively disappointed. You just don't get David Morrissey and Hannah Waddingham to be in a movie like this, and then you just don't use them. They're kind of just there. It's like this movie, I just feel like this movie, there was just something about this movie that was so incredibly rushed, and it didn't even know what to do with any of these supporting characters, because like in the book I feel like all the supporting characters just come across really wonderfully, and I feel like they're all used with a purpose at times. They all have their function. It just felt like this movie didn't know what to do with this supporting cast of characters, because your big star, your big draw is Keira Knightley, obviously. But yeah, just nothing was done with this incredible amount of talent. They're just all kind of there. They have their couple lines of dialogue. I can't even tell you any of their names or what they did. They served nothing to this movie. And in the book, what's so great too about Ruth Ware's writing in the book, just everybody on the yacht, everybody is a suspect. I didn't get that with this movie. It just very clearly felt like none of these people are suspects. There was no mystery, there was no intrigue. Whereas the book just constantly keeps you guessing about, oh, maybe it's this guy, maybe it's this lady. There's always something kind of just peculiar about some of the characters, like something at the back of your brain that just kind of rubs you the wrong way about them, and it leads you to think that each of these passengers are a suspect at some point. Again, I never felt that with this movie, that each of these characters were a suspect. I immediately was able to just like, yeah, not a suspect, not a suspect, not a suspect. It's like there was just kind of like maybe two people that was like, I'm suspicious of them, So yeah, an absolute waste of this remarkable cast. The writing didn't even know what to do with them, didn't even know how to build up the suspense and tension, and to create a list of suspects. When you watch murder mysteries, you need a good supporting cast of characters to create that tension and that drama. You need that really lengthy, heavy suspect list, and this movie just did not have that compared to the book. And there is another casting choice in this movie that I did not like whatsoever, but I can't get to that because again, that goes into spoiler territory. But yeah, the other casting choice in this movie, I didn't like it. It was kind of terrible for me, and that's really all I can say about it without getting into spoilers. So yeah, to conclude this review, I feel like I've not done just a 100% negative review on anything in a really long time, because when I do reviews, I tend to really stay upbeat and positive about a lot of stuff. Even if there's things that I don't particularly enjoy, I always find the good in something, and I just feel like there was nothing good about this movie. Yeah, guys, I was really disappointed with it from start to finish, to be quite honest. And I'm just curious now, is Netflix, because like I said, Ruth Ware wrote a sequel to this book called The Woman in Suite 11. I'm just curious if Netflix is even going to adapt that, you know, to have another Keira Knightley movie. It's probably going to suck just as bad, you know, if they do this exact same sort of thing. That being said, though, I mean, I really would like Netflix, if they want to adapt all of Ruth Ware's books, I would be here for that. I would love to see all of her books adapted, but they need to get like a better team. You know, there definitely needs to be a better team of writers to adapt her books, because her books are just so rich and so complex, and she has such interesting characters. And I feel like this adaptation didn't really understand the book to me, and kind of the themes and messages that Ruth Ware tends to go after in her books. I think this movie was definitely an absolute fail in regards to all that. So you guys, that is it for my rather disappointed, disgruntled thoughts and feelings on The Woman in Cabin 10. Like I said, I love Ruth Ware's book, so in the comments below, I'm very curious how you guys felt about this adaptation. Have you read the book? Have you not? What did you feel about this movie adaptation? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.